Quiz2 question 5. Your firm is considering two projects with the following cash flows that we've seen before. What is the crossover rate? So the crossover rate is the rate at which you would switch which project you would prefer to invest in. So we saw with a discount rate of 12%, we'd go with project A. But at some point, the cash flows that occur earlier versus later, so we can see we get more cash flows up front with project B, there's going to be a preference for these cash flows as the discount rate increases. So there's two ways we can do this. The first way is pretty straightforward, and we're just going to difference the cash flows of the projects. So normally you say, oh, there's no outflow at time 0, but that really doesn't matter. And so the next thing we'll do then is, now that we have the difference in cash flows, we'll just do an IRR. Now we could say two changes, but it's really just one change. And so we can see the crossover rate is right at 13.3%. We can also set it up where we do the NPV with a sliding scale. So we can calculate the NPV for project A. And we'll use this rate. We're going to hit F4 once and then hit F4 twice. Oh, there we go, third time, so that we remain in column G, but we allow row 4 to float. Then we're going to select our values from project A to discount. We'll hit F4 to lock those in, close, and then what we want to do is we want to add back in our value at time 0 and hit F4. We'll then carry this over here, but we need to then move this from project A to project B. So we're just going to change these to C's. So we get the same values that we did in question 1 or 2. Next thing we want to do is drag these values down. And so you'll notice the project value changes, and we can see that once we get down here, project B is still profitable, whereas project A is no longer profitable. So at some point there's a switchover. And we know that 13.33, we can see it there. So at 13.25, we can see that project A is better than project B, but once we get to 13.5%, we can see that project B is better than project A. We can also do this by just taking the difference. We'll take project A less project B, and so where we see this go from positive to negative is our crossover point. And we can see the crossover point here in this graph. And something's not showing up right, but we can tell it's right here at this 13.33%. Probably something in terms of selecting the data where we have to edit our range. Okay, so we'll change our horizontal value there. Okay, perfect. And now we can see right here is our crossover rate where we're indifferent, and that's at 13.33%. So if the rate's below 13.33%, we prefer project A, and if it's greater than 13.33%, we prefer project B.